Slap Viper.
Wrestling fans have been at war for years for what makes a wrestler or a match the best. We've seen money made, ratings gathered, stars earned, longevity of a career, quality of work rate, and even mic skills be used as objectives and set in stone like standards of what qualifies the best wrestler. But all of those never quite tell the full story, do they? You can say someone like Hulk Hogan was the greatest wrestler due to the money he drew and the contributions to American wrestling and whatnot, but in terms of other objectives, he may not qualify in all those. We see many wrestlers from American Dragons, Red Queens, Best Bout Machines, Generals, Natural Born Masters, Technical Wizards, Magic Girls, and even men who won gold medals with broken freaking necks be called the greatest of all time. Look at all the people I am showing. Pause and read these. Pause and read these on your screen right now. This is all talking about what moment from their favorite wrestler or favorite wrestlers made them the most emotional. And emotion is the only metric that matters in wrestling. Right there, that's the main idea of this video. The best wrestler isn't the one who's the greatest worker, the greatest promo, makes the most money, or anything like that, because all those things are either subjective or so laser focused that no one else can compete. The only way to determine who you love the most, who you believe is the greatest or your favorite wrestler ever, is something we all have, something we all experience, something that we all can feel. Emotions. The only objective metric in professional wrestling, and the only true way to determine who you watching believe is the greatest or who is your favorite. And I'm going to explain why here today. Professional wrestling has been described as an art by many, and it truly is an art. Art, like professional wrestling, is subjective, and your experiences consuming it will vary due to our experience as human beings. That's why the argument of the greatest wrestler ever, I feel, can be seen as redundant a lot of the times. Yes, you can say someone like Cody Rhodes is the greatest wrestler today because he draws money and has great ratings for his shows, but why should I care if I cannot connect emotionally? Or think of someone like Kazuchika Okada. Many people know my opinions on him, but many people regard him as one of the greatest wrestlers ever by my peers, his peers, and by many other people. And looking at his catalog, you can make a very strong argument for you saying that he is one of the greatest of all time. But when he gets in the ring, I don't feel for him emotionally. And that's just two examples as well. Of course, those are just my opinions as well, just like the reason why people may like other people. But that's where this whole reason lies. That's where this whole state of emotion and opinion comes through. I mean, there's several reasons why I love someone like Akira Hokuto. Very few wrestlers have been able to move me to tears, and she's one of the few, alongside people like Julia, Bryan Danielson, Adam Copeland / Edge, Mai Hime, and many other people. Finding out about Hokuto came at a point in my life where I was really struggling emotionally, and seeing what she endured to get the status she has now made me fall all in love with her, and it made me keep going in my personal life. Julia introduced me to a brand new genre of wrestling when I gave up on the sport for 2 years because of the slump of our next person. Bryan Danielson had me in tears as a young kid, as a young man, because of the struggles that he faced, not just in kayfabe wise, but also outside of the ring as well. And the way he was able to overcome all of those, and he just made wrestling feel so much more real. And I always grin ear to ear seeing him, just like Adam Copeland. Edge or Copeland was my first ever favorite wrestler and still is my favorite wrestler today, and his retirement brought me to tears. And then when he came back, it brought me to tears, and seeing everything that he's doing now, despite being told he would never wrestle again after suffering 2 career-threatening injuries, multiple career-threatening injuries actually, not even just those 2, just made me just fall in love with him, seeing like how he was just able to just go. And it's always just so cool and fun to watch him, and it brings back to a time where I grew up and I was just so happy to see him. Micah and Emeka are both incredibly powerful in the ring, and their stories of coming through wrestling and the arc that they both had to endure to reach the big points and their defying moments, like with Micah's eventual red belt win and Himeka being there for that win. And of course, while Himeka never got to win a single championship, she got her swan song and got many people to actually feel for her during her departure. And of course, she's still doing well today as well, which that makes things a lot more better. And all these people and many other people that I have on like my favorite wrestler ever list and whatnot, I feel so emotionally connected to them. Were they the greatest wrestlers of all time? To me, yes, they were. And you can argue with a wall with that. Matches are the same way. A great match should always emotionally invest you, whether it be sadness or happiness or any other emotion that makes you feel for the wrestler. There's a reason why Dump Matsumoto is regarded as highly as she is, because she made the fans react to her. Fans in the crowd would sob and cry and yell, seeing how she would treat the people that they love. That's something that you can't fake. A lot of these podcasts and engagement farmers online in the wrestling community, they all come with fakeness. They come with hollowness, and that just doesn't make them seem credible. They all just regurgitate just like these horrible points, but they never really explain how they feel. You can always talk about how good of a match is because of the selling, or the moves performed, or the stars that they got. But how are the fans reacting? How are you reacting? How are you reacting to it? The wrestling business suffered in 2020 because the world shut down. And as a result, many matches were without fans, and without that emotional connection to the fans and of the fans. Only when the world came back to a more stable state was wrestling truly back. Take, for example, this. Many people regard Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada 4 as the greatest wrestling match ever. Was the match good? Yes, to me, from a technical standpoint, I do enjoy parts of it. I do enjoy things about it. But I did not emotionally connect with the match. Me personally, I did not really connect with the match that much, even after watching all their previous encounters first and knowing a lot of the story with it. And guess what? That's my opinion. I do, however, have an emotional connection to Chris Hero versus Timothy Thatcher from West Coast Pro's Whiplash show. The match probably wasn't up to the standard for a lot of people, but knowing the context of the feud these two have had for years before this match, and this being Chris Hero's first match back in 4 years, made it all the more special to me. A match doesn't need to move you to tears either to be seen as a great match, but have strong emotion like cheering and yelling, or even just feeling it down to your core, in your brain, where you feel just something in you. And any reaction a wrestler wants works with that, because at the end of the day, the only metric that matters in professional wrestling as a fan is emotion. People all day would argue about who makes the most money, who makes the most ratings, who has the most stars, and everything like that. And all that stuff can be good for a wrestler. All that stuff can be good for a wrestler. And of course, I do hope all great wrestlers out there, they all get the most money. They all get the best ratings. They all get the most stars and everything like that. I hope they get all of that. I hope they get their flowers. But I also hope all the great wrestlers get the emotions from the fans. Get all the emotion from the fans. You never know what a fan is going through seeing a wrestler, or how a wrestler makes a fan feel. They could come at a time in a person's life where they could be at their most vulnerable. They could just be at a state of just giving up, and seeing that wrestler made them feel. Maybe that wrestler reminds them something in their real life that kind of brings them back to a time where they were happier. Or maybe just that wrestler, in general, just really made the person fall in love with pro wrestling again. Even your local independent wrestlers, always make sure to support your local indie guys, can give you strong emotions as well, as long as they move you. Here's an example. Rachel Armstrong is a women's wrestler in America, and every time I've met her. She was always tried her ass off in that ring, and I'm so proud of her. And that's just one example out of the many wrestlers that I've done that for. Hell, you can look at these clips right now of me cheering.
Oh, no, no, no! Yeah! Yeah! Shibata! Oh, shit! Oh, my God! He's here! Oh, my God! Oh, no. Yeah! Yeah, 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 yeah! 1, 2, 3, yeah!
The best part about emotion in wrestling is that it's all subjective. What I feel isn't what you're going to feel, what your friend's going to feel, what 5 people from your friend's friend is going to feel. And wrestling is at its best when people are not locked into one way of viewing wrestling. People giving actual responses and criticism towards a match and wrestlers without coming off as hateful, and people giving actual praise that isn't used as a vessel of shilling but as a piece of endearment is what makes wrestling better. Wrestling fans may all never agree on the same thing, and we probably never will, but there's something inside all of us that makes us love this. There's a reason why you love your favorite wrestler, your favorite match. There's a reason why you love all of that. You feel for these wrestlers, connect to them. They make you feel so strongly. They probably made you tear up or scream as loud as you possibly can. You went away from your television, your phone, your computer, your tablet, whatever you're watching it on, and thought so deeply about the wrestler or the match that you just can't get out of your head. Wrestling is a very complicated business. But what you can take away after every show that involves some of your favorite wrestlers, anything like that, you will feel something. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters as a fan. The only metric that matters in professional wrestling is emotion, and I hope today I convinced you why. But before I cut to my outro, I'm going to tell you this. Never let anyone, a podcast, a website, a fan, none of them, never let them convince you that a wrestler is bad or good if you do or do not emotionally feel for that wrestler. You are your own person with your own views of life. It is your emotions. It is your viewing experience as a fan. Never let anyone try to say you don't know wrestling because of what you do or don't like. Thank you all so much for watching. Buy W and use code SlapViperLLC at checkout for 10% off your W order. Donate to my coffee below if you want. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is Quincy of SlapViperLLC, and I will talk to you all later. Take care.